ओ ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् रामो राजमणिः सदा विजयते रामं रमेशं भजे रामेणाभिहता निशाचरचं रामाय तस्मै नमः रामान्नास्ति परायणं परतरं रामस्य दासोऽस्म्यहं रामे चित्तलयः सदा भवतु मे भो राम मामुद्धर समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् 47th and 48th verse we'll chant together. Samyak vijnanavan yogi स्वात्मन्येवाखिलं जगत् एकं च सर्वमात्मानं ईक्षते ज्ञानचक्षुषा आत्मैवेदं जगत् सर्वं आत्मनोऽन्यन्न विद्यते मृदो यद्वद्घटादीनि स्वात्मानं सर्वमीक्षते. This portion from 47th verse until the 53rd verse is about Jivan Mukti. And the main part, which is important to note in Jivan Mukti, is it is on the strength of knowledge first and also on the support of sadhana. Means we should not have erroneous notion that because I have studied Vedanta, by that alone, I will see this Jivan Mukti Lakshanas in myself. So Vedanta says, Jnanam will be the main criteria, but lot of things about Jivan Mukti comes with how we have lived our life on the strength of that knowledge, or how we have prepared ourselves to gain this knowledge. On the strength of both of these, one can see Jivan Mukti Lakshana in themselves. But this also is from a transactional standpoint. If you ask a jnani if you are Jivan Mukta or Videha Mukta, they will say, I am Nitya Mukta. But for all of us as sadhakas, we need some metrics. We need some right milestones by which we can say that I am proceeding in the right direction. So if I say I go to an engineering school, what is the outcome? So I see somebody graduating from that engineering school and having this knowledge of particular branch of engineering that that person studied. So then I can safely estimate if I go and put forth the same effort, then more or less I will get similar result. In the same way, Jivan Mukti Lakshanas are like the precise milestones that will help us track our progress on the spiritual path. And most importantly, make sure that we don't have erroneous milestones. Okay, so two parts. One is the knowledge portion, clarity of nature of the truth, nature of myself as that pure consciousness. And second is all other sadhanas that we have done. So what is the main part that I should be emphasizing in knowledge? So 47th and 48th verse said that this jnani, who now we call as Jivan Mukta, sees this entire creation in himself. But most importantly, he sees himself also in this entire creation. Both ways it goes. Means he has understood they are not two different things. Right? That snake alone is appearing as the rope, or snake alone is the rope, or rope alone is appearing as the snake. Right? Both ways we can understand this. So in that way, he sees this entire creation, and most importantly, his ahankara, he can keep away and see. So with this, to inspire us, to show us what is the result of this knowledge, if one has sincerely done sadhana, gained clarity in this Vedanta, what will they get? So that is given in next few verses. Who is a Jivan Mukta? Is the one who has practiced this 47th, 48th verse along with other sadhanas, what he has previously done. And this Brahmajnanam is very thoroughly established in his mind that Atman alone is Satyam. Everything else is an appearance in this consciousness. So that Jivan Mukta, how does he live? 49th verse. Jivan Muktastu tad vidwan, Jivan Muktastu tad vidwan, Purvopadhigunan styajet, Purvopadhigunan styajet, Satchidanandarupatvat, Satchidanandarupatvat, Bhaved Bhramarakitavat, Bhaved Bhramarakitavat, Jivan Muktastu tad vidwan, Purvopadhigunan styajet, Satchidanandarupatvat, Bhaved Bhramarakitavat. Beautiful example is given. Bhramarakita. Bhramarakita, Gurudev here translates it as a worm metamorphosizing into a wasp. So just like that worm becomes a wasp, how does it become? He says it's first put in some cocoon kind of a thing, where it single-pointedly goes on pricking at that thing without looking here and there. In spite of bearing a lot of pain, it keeps pricking at that same thing and finally comes to become that wasp. So this is the example. Bhavet Bhramara Kitavata. Last line. So who is becoming now? This sadhaka who was doing this Brahma Abhyasa, doing all sadhanas. Now that same sadhaka alone, just like that worm became the wasp, our same sadhaka will become Jivan Mukta. Means Jivan Muktas are not suddenly born from somewhere. We say, right? They have not fallen from the sky. They have gone through a lot of pain, lot of sadhana, and this Brahma Abhyasa they have been doing consistently for an extended period of time. This example we should take very carefully. Any example, there is a similarity, right, between what you want to show and what the example is trying to convey. So that similarity we should grasp very carefully here. Brahmarakita doesn't mean that this Jivan Mukta was something else before and now he has become something else. Right? You might say, oh, that worm was not the wasp before. It had a different, name and form and the way it was, going around and so. And now it has become a wasp which has wings and so many other things. So we should not literally take that example. It is not that sadhaka was not Brahma before while doing sadhana, and after doing sadhana he became Jivan Mukta. We say no, Jivan Mukti is with this clear knowledge that I was ever Brahma. Even while I was deluded, even while I was thinking that I am this Jiva, I was already Brahma. What is the single pointed thinking that I did? He said he thought in this way about this fact that I am already Brahman. It is only because of avidya I am thinking of myself to be this finite being. So that abhyasa he has consistently done. Just like that worm consistently goes on pricking at that cocoon that it has, this sadhaka also did that consistent jnana abhyasa. What we saw in 47th and 48th verse, or previously in Nididhyasanam portion also we had seen this. So that is the similarity between example. It is not literal transformation that is going to happen. And another similarity is it takes time, right? We cannot force that process of worm trying to become a wasp. You cannot speed it up. And it is very painful, right? You ask that worm, how did it feel? And Gurudev has written here that, the mother from outside keeps stinging it inside. Because, otherwise it will just sit wherever it is. So with that sting, out of that fear, it constantly wants to come out. So like this, our journey, right, in our sadhana, no matter how much we are doing, constantly we get pricks, from outside. We say we should be very, very patient. The goal is worth pursuing. It only depends upon how committed we are. And another last similarity is, once it becomes a wasp, there is no going back. Right? It does not become a worm again. Naham jivah paratmeti jnataschet nirbhayo bhavet. That once this sadhaka has thorough understanding, I am not jiva, I am Brahma. If that sadhaka has prepared himself well, done sadhanas before, and done this jnana abhyasa, then Upanishads say there is no going back again. No going back meaning going back into that jiva bhava, giving reality to this world, to this ahankara. That much thoroughness we should have in our knowledge and in our sadhana. Okay, that is this example, Bhaved Bhramara Kitavat. Now, first line, the same sadhaka is now called as Jivan Mukta, right? That Vidwan who has this knowledge and he has done that sadhana. How does he live? Sarva Upadi Gunan Tyajet. Carefully note how Bhagavan has written. Jivan Muktah tu tad Vidwan Purva Upadi Gunan Tyajet. Sarva Upadi, sometimes it is Purva Upadi. Purva Upadi means that Upadi, previously what he thought was his, means this body only, not something else. What is Upadi? We have seen earlier. So this body, which he thought to be his, he says the gunas of this body, that he has given up. Means if body is tall, previously this sadhaka stage he would say, I am tall. But now he is able to distance himself from this body and say this body is tall. That is why Bhagavan has said, Upadi Gunan Tyajet, not Upadi Tyajet. Upadi, how we will give up. Means physical giving up and taking, nothing is needed. It is only in our understanding. Right? Now, mind as an Upadi. What is the guna of that? We have studied different koshas, right? Manomaya kosha, Vijnanamaya kosha. If I take those koshas to be real and I take them to be me, what is the expression of that misunderstanding? He says, anybody disagrees with my idea, it takes me several days, to overcome it. Because upadhi I have identified with, and it is vijnanamaya or manomaya. So I feel somebody rejecting an idea in my intellect, I feel they're rejecting me. So that upadhi, he is able to stay away from. Guna of that upadhi. Right? So, what was bothering him so much before as sadhaka, while doing sadhana, or even before he became a sadhaka, now those same things do not bother as much. That is what this means. Purva upadhi gunans tyajet. And we don't have to declare to the world or anything that, oh, previously I used to get so bothered and now I don't. Whenever that thought comes, you see next what happens. Very silently we should keep doing. At the most, what we should do is make sure that we are saving ourselves from sorrow with knowledge. Sorrow means the same thing, right? If somebody criticizes upadhi, I feel they are criticizing me. And what is Upanishad trying to say? Your understanding of me should be Satchidananda. If you go and sit in the wrong place, you will get wrong things. Maharaj used to give an extreme example. He used to say, if you sit in a trash can, right, the big ones that they have, people will just come and throw things inside. Who knows, who is sitting there inside? He said, these upadhis are like that. If you sit in the wrong place, don't complain that, you are getting wrong things. So criticism we can understand. Most importantly, we should be very careful about praise. This is an advice Bhagwan Shri Krishna gives to Uddhavji in Uddhav Gita. He said, be very careful if you're a sincere sadhaka. If somebody praises you, carefully note, is it really about me or is it about some upadhi? If somebody says, you look so nice, in our mind it should come, this is upadhi. If I develop taste for this praise, or if I really feel I am this, now it might be okay, but later it is going to give me a lot of sorrow. You speak so well. He says, it is my karmendriya. Tattva Bodha I have studied. You sing so well. So remember, this is all Jivan Mukta Lakshana. For transaction, we might use other things. But in our mind, for ourselves, we should be very careful about praise. And more we are careful there, less we will be hurt with criticism. It is directly proportional. Person who can fly very high with praise will fall equally down with criticism. This is the power of Vedanta. Vedanta is not interested in just keeping us happy by saying a few good things and, making sure that it says just those things that we like to hear. This is no, Jivan Mukti is something vilakshana. No matter what the world outside is, no matter who says what to us, this Jivan Mukta is unshaken. And these qualities, if we want to see, we should see in Sadhu Mahatmas. So many saints' stories we keep hearing, right? Jnaneshwar Maharaj, Tukaram ji. It was not that world did not insult them, or in their family, everything was nice. No, they had even more challenges than we can imagine. But because this upadhi guna tyaga happened, they were able to stay there, unshaken, taking Bhagwan's name. So what is their core strength? What is their understanding about themselves on the strength of which they are able to do this? This is Satchidananda Rupatvat. They have understood their nature to be of Satchidananda, and constantly they have done this abhyasa, like that Bhramara Kita, worm into a wasp. So that transformation took place in them because they have worked hard for it. So whenever we are looking at these verses, we should keep them as our milestone, right? Because that's where we started discussion with. Jivan Mukti means I should be able to see these conditionings as different from me, but also as mithya. Right? Different from me is one step. It is called as vivichya. But I should also be able to do pravilapanam. Pravilapanam means mithyatva of this upadhi. Those of you who attended our Shankar Jayanti program, there was one small clip of Pujya Gurudev where he talks about his body as a shadow. Right? He gives his itinerary. He says from morning or from last, I went to Singapore, and from there I went to here. And then he says how much of physical pain he is in. But he says this is a shadow. So in them we should see the expression of these verses. Right? So it gives us so much inspiration. It says this kind of knowledge is possible, and that knowledge and sadhana is what I should strive for. Now comes another beautiful verse, which is called as Adhyatma Ramayana. It says Jivan Mukta, their life is like in Rama Rajya. They might be living in Kali Yuga, or in any yuga they might be living, but inside they are in Rama Rajya. How are they able to do it? 50th verse. Tirtva moharnavam hatva, tirtva moharnavam hatva, ragadveshadirakshasan, ragadveshadirakshasan, yogi shanti samayukta hai, yogi shanti samayukta hai, atma ramo virajate, atma ramo virajate, tirtva moharnavam hatva, ragadveshadirakshasan, yogi shanti samayukta hai, atma ramo virajate. So we know the story of Ramayana. In one verse, the essence of it is captured. Say Bhagwan Rama went across the ocean, found Sita ji, killed all the Rakshasas, brought her back. That is, the main essence. But what is the symbolism of each one of them? He says, moharnavam tirtva. Having crossed over this ocean. What is that ocean? Ocean of moha. Delusion about what is my true nature. Okay, that is true moha. Even to come to this point takes a long time for us. In Bhagavad Gita, we saw in last class that there is one thing called as Vyavasayatmika Buddhi and Avyavasayatmika Buddhi. Avyavasayatmika means what? They go in different directions. So like those Vanaras who went in every direction but south, so we also go searching for Sukham in different places. We want Shanti, peace in our life, but we are searching it in different directions. I feel doing this will give me peace, doing that will give me peace. But we realize this search doesn't end. Fortunately, Sugriva put that 1 month condition. Right? He said, if you don't come back in 1 month, means what? Stop searching in other directions, come back to your source. So it takes a long time for us to realize what is our main problem, or what is the main cause of sorrow in life. So main cause of sorrow is moha. Right? Bhagavan starts teaching in Bhagavad Gita by saying that your shoka is because of moha. You take care of that, everything is okay. How do I take care of it? You say this moha is like an ocean, right? So you need a boat. What is that boat? Jnana plava. sarvam jnanaplaveneva rujinam santarishyasi. Jnanaplava means that boat of knowledge. You go on that boat, with ease you will be able to cross over this ocean of moha. In fact, the beauty is when you cross over, you will realize there was no ocean to begin with. भवसागर जो सूख गयो, फिकर नहीं मोहि तरन नकी. Mirabai, she says that I sat on this boat, I went across the ocean, but later when I looked back, Bhagwan's grace was such that knowledge was so clear that this entire ocean only dried up. Means what? I tried to make that snake go away, which is appearing on that rope. I did so many things only to realize there was no snake in the first place. Whatever was there is only an appearance. What is actually there is me, myself, which is Ananda Swarupa Brahma. So that is this Moha Arnava that this Jivan Mukta has crossed. Was it easy, that journey? No, there were so many Rakshasas. Who are those Rakshasas? Raga Dveshadi Rakshasan. He met them. What did he do with them? Hatva. All these words, right? Tirtva, Hatva. These are Tva Pratyaya. Means having done this, then he did that. Having done this, he did that. Means it's as though in sequential order. So this first line is highlighting Siddhanta, Jnanam, and Sadhana. So what is the main sadhana he did? All Rakshasas who came, all of them he finished. Hatva, he did not be very compassionate with them, make them stay near him and allow them to grow. Says Ravana, Kumbhakarna, he has to finish right then and there. Who are they? They are Raga Dvesha. Wherever I go, whatever karma I do, whichever person we interact with, if one is not a sadhaka, that situation, person, object leaves a very strong impression. Strong impression in the form of that this thing is good. This person is very good. This situation, was so nice. That Sukha Buddhi comes, what we had earlier seen as Shobhana Buddhi. What is the result of that? Raga. Means again and again, mind wants to do that same thing. Now remember, where does this sadhaka have to go now? He has to go to remove his moha. Right? Moha is about my own self, my own true nature as not knowing my own true nature as Ananda Swarupa. And on one hand, because of raga, this sadhaka is very thoroughly occupied outside. That one is a Rakshasa. This raga is a Rakshasa. There is no alternative but to finish that Rakshasa. And flip side of it is Dvesha. Same thing, whenever we interact in the world, all perceptions leave again a strong impression. And wherever I get dukkham from, wherever I get sorrow, for my own, not that out of some analysis I'm coming to this point that there is sorrow here. I say something, somebody doesn't agree with me. So that person becomes source of my sorrow. And towards that person, this sadhaka will develop dvesha. So sadhaka actually is somebody who is able to keep those two things a little bit away from their personality. Either raga or dvesha. At least this much care should be taken that it doesn't govern our vyavahara. Means if I have to take a decision, we should ask ourselves, based on what am I taking a decision? Sometimes because of raga dvesha, we tend to sway here and there, right? Knowing what is the right thing to do, knowing what should be done. You say, because I have raga towards this person or whatever, you say, there will be more tendency to lean towards that option. Dvesha also is same. Somebody is deserving, we stay sometimes away from that person. Or we ourselves don't want to learn from that person because I have so much of dvesha. But at least if we can take care of that there might be preferences, but we are not allowing our vyavahara to be governed. You see, that is the first or second step towards Ramarajya. And these things are more for self-introspection. What happens is whenever we read these sadhana points, right, we say, I know whom this should apply to. Such and such person. I wish they were here today. Swami used to tell us, in Sandipani, the same thing. Ragadveshadi rakshasan hatva. So having given up these ragadveshas, fully uprooted from our personality, we say, what did he get from this? So this sadhaka got a great thing, something that everybody is striving, but they're not able to get. The yogi shanti samayuktaha. That is our Sitaji. Sitaji is Shanti Swarupa. And when somebody has taken the shelter of sadhanas to remove ragadvesha and to cross over this ocean of moha, they will be able to get Sitaji, who is Shanti Swarupa. And most importantly, there is no other way. Upanishad say, Tesham Shantihi Shashwati na itaresham. Eternal Shanti, if we want, sadhana and jnanam are the only antidotes. That is why that raga dvesha came before, right? In the first line. Means if raga dveshas are there, I cannot say that I have raga dvesha also and I am very peaceful also. You say they will not allow you to sit peacefully. Everything is good outside. These raga dveshas are sufficient to create mental agitations. And we actually don't live with the world. We live with our mind. So ragadveshas sitting in the mind are sufficient strong enemies, rakshasas they are, to trouble us. Right? So Bhagavan has to take avatara. He has to come as that shubhecha in our heart, has to come as that brahmakara vritti, which will remove this moha and ajnanam. Sadashiv Brahmendra ji has written one song. All his compositions were very Vedantic and devotional also. Khelati mama hrudaye. There he mentions this line, Shanti videha sutha sahachari. Means he says, in my heart is sporting Bhagwan Rama. That is that next line, Atma Ramo virajate. Means my heart is so pure that all that I see is that truth. Right? In devotional texts, what we call as Bhagwan Rama, in Vedantic text will be called as Atma or Brahma. So that knowledge is so clear that this Shanti is ever available. And mind also, because Raga Dveshas are not there, it can reflect this Ananda very easily. So that is this Adhyatma Ramayana, Rama Rajya, if it has to come. First, it has to come inside. Outside, what happens is just an expression of our mind. So many a times we have heard this from Puja Gurudev and so many other Mahatmas, that don't try to change the world from outside to in. Because even if you do it there, it is not going to last too long. Because we are expressions of our understandings, our convictions. If somebody has discovered Shanti for themselves, you think their Vyavahara will be agitating? No, Vyavahara also will be Shanta Swarupa. So that is this Adhyatma Ramayana. Now, another beautiful point is brought. What was the main thing, that led this sadhaka to this Ramarajya? What is that one thing that he holds on to, because of which this Jivan Mukti becomes even more blossomed, fully? 51st verse. Bahyanittya sukha saktim, bahyanittya sukha saktim, hitvatma sukha nirvrutaha, hitvatma sukha nirvrutaha, घटस्थदीपवत् स्वस्थः, घटस्थदीपवत् स्वस्थः, स्वान्तरेव प्रकाशते, स्वान्तरेव प्रकाशते, बाह्यानित्यसुखासक्तिं हित्वात्मसुखनिर्वृतः, घटस्थदीपवत् स्वस्थः, स्वान्तरेव प्रकाशते. Another beautiful indicator is given for us to match. If I say I have understood Vedanta, or I am on the path that is being shown by Vedanta, the goal which is shown by Vedanta, then I should reach here. What does Jivan Mukta, what is his vision towards Sukham coming from outside? It says, Bahya Anitya Sukha Saktim Hitva. Means he has given up this craving or that asakti. Asakti means strong liking towards Sukham coming from outside. Bahya Anitya Sukha Saktim. On what strength did he give up? By knowing that they are Anitya. So temporary they are, and they leave a bad taste. Bad taste in the sense they make me dependent upon those objects. If you want more precise, opening of the shloka, we should go to Bhagavad Gita, where Bhagavan says, Ye hi samsparshaja bhogaha dukkha yonaya evate adyantavantah kaunteya na teshu ramate buddha. Means what is this Bahya Anitya Sukha? Anything that is born out of contact of our sense organs with sense objects. So broad that definition is that you cannot miss out on anything. So now it is up to a sadhaka to think more and more about what is this kind of sukham in my life. Where am I getting sukham out of? This, contact of sense organs with sense object. He says, bring this thought very, very clearly, very distinctly in your mind, that it has sorrow in its root. Dukkha yonaya evate. Dukkha yoni means what? It looks as sukham, but what it actually is the origin of dukkham. Why? Same reason. Because it is anitya, it is going to go away. And it will make me dependent on that thing so much. So this portion is what we had earlier seen as dosha darshanam, right? Bhava sukhe doshonu sandhiyatam. This is one of the sadhana. In Sadhana Panchakam we had seen. And it is on this strength alone, a sadhaka is able to control the mind. Dosha darshanam is a very powerful method, very, very effective method to control the mind. Otherwise, we cannot just, trick the mind to do something. Unless I thoroughly see dosha in that, mind will not come back. Repercussion of it we see in different places. You sit down for meditation, mind goes to same places. It goes to anitya sukham only. If I want to do some work, then also mind will go here and there. So how do I bring it back? We say do dosha darshanam. In this BART, right? Whenever you go, you have that ticket that you put. One side it is green, another side it is red, right? With a sign on it that don't enter here. So this Jivan Mukta or this sadhaka has done so much abhyasa that anything and everything of this creation, while he is interacting, this sign is always there on that thing. Along with that sound. I don't know if it has a siren also. That also keeps blaring, that don't get carried away by this. And because Bhagavad Drishti is there is a lot of reverence and love with that upadhi, but no getting carried away by that. So, bahya anitya sukha saktim hitva atma sukha nirvritah. If I let go of outer sukham, what will I do? Because I need sukham. He says this jnani has reached to a stage where he knows I am that source of ananda. Atma alone is sukha swarupa. In that sukham, he is content. These are all joys of an jnani, but also of an upasaka. In upasana, entire creation is seen as in oneself. Means anything of this creation, this upasaka feels is already attained in me. So that is one kind of joy that they are content with. But over here it is jnani's joy. Jnani's joy is what? Knowing that I alone am, there is nothing to go and get from outside. Once that silver appearing on that shell has been known to be mithya, there is no desire to go and take that silver. So jnani's condition is like that. He is very well content wherever he is. Example is given, ghatastha deepavat swastaha. Just like a lamp kept in a pot. There might be holes in the pot because of which light, rays might be coming out, but that lamp is unconcerned. Very well content in its own self. Swastaha means what? Swas means sthitaha. Means this mind is abiding in Brahma Vidya. Constant understanding is there that none of this is actually real. We say swasthya, right? Swasthya means what? Good health. आपका स्वास्थ्य कैसा है? So Raman Maharshi ji says, true good health is this understanding. Hrutsthale mana swasthata. Hrutsthale means what? This mind abiding in this self. Knowledge always shining in this self. That Atma alone is real. Everything else is an appearance. That is our true swasthata. And what is roga? Roga is running outside. Right? If swasthata is mind abiding in Atman, our own self, what will be the disease? Good health is one, right? Mind abiding in Atman. So the disease or roga is mind again going outside. Ghatastha deepavat swastaha swantareva prakashate. Kruta krutyata, which is there, that this jnani experiences now. This alone in several places is called as nirvasana bodha. Means knowledge being there is one thing. But another thing is to have knowledge along with complete cessation of vasanas. Complete cessation meaning all bothering vasanas have gone down. Right? So that is this Swantareva Prakashate. Okay, more we will discuss on Thursday. But now because Gurudev's video lectures are ending, Thursday's class will be at 6:30. So we'll go back to our previous timing, 6:30 to 7:15 class, 15 minutes of Q&A if there is any. And we'll try to complete this text in a few more classes. Okay, how long it will take, let us see. Because I feel most important is to connect with the verse and understand each and every word. Right? Otherwise, doing it quickly is very easy. doesn't take much effort. Hari Om, everyone. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.